Williams has some answers. Here he is. Go ahead.
Coach, you've talked about just not even giving up 30-point quarters, but to start the game with a 44-pointer. How much of that played into what happened the rest of the game?
It was pretty much the whole game. 81 points in the first half. It was deflating to just see them score like that, and running down the floor, getting easy buckets. That falls on my shoulders, not having us ready to play at the highest level in the biggest game of the year, bottom line. And to your point, like that's just not who we are and who we've been.
And then just to follow up, when you're looking at the way they were scoring, I mean, you said like through 6 games, you know what they're going to do. Was it almost like you're talking to them like, hey, we've seen this? I mean, what were you trying to get across to them during that?
Well, at that point, you're just trying to get the spirit back. When they're running their offense with great pace and physicality on offense, and then we didn't make shots, and I thought that sent us into a bit of a tailspin, which is not common for us. We've been in games where we miss shots and we're able to get the stops we needed to, be productive. We just couldn't get any stops in the first half.
Monty, when the deficit grew to that length, what did you see from the guys in terms of the effort they were trying to do and like trying to balance not doing too much?
I thought the effort was there, but it wasn't at the highest level where we needed it. I thought the shot missing messed with us a bit. Not having DA as a roller tonight, you could see the difference in their pick and roll coverage. They were stealing out to shooters more tonight, and they were actually in the passing lanes a bit more. But I thought we missed a ton of shots early, and I thought that brought our spirit down.
I know you're not big on comparisons, but this is 2 straight years with an ending like this at home. Did you sense a different energy from the guys, at least, though, to what I was asking about earlier?
I can't gauge that. I'm not quite sure if I can compare. They both they bring bad feelings about the game and what you're trying to accomplish. Neither day feels good.
Coach, Book's efficiency since that fall in the first quarter last game, it just wasn't quite the same. Was he fully healthy, or did that impact him?
I haven't gotten a medical report on that, but I think he is dealing with some soreness. Just watching him, he didn't have that same pop, and he's just too tough of a guy to admit when he's, feeling something. But there's nothing official as far as an injury is concerned. He just was toughing it out, and finally I just took him out of the game.
When you have another season that comes to an end like this,
Yeah.
I know you guys didn't have as much time with Kevin as you wanted, but what's kind of your outlook for the franchise as far as what you need next time?
It's too hard to talk about that stuff right now. It's an emotional, tough loss. It's hard for me to even see past today. I want to go in there and talk to the coaches, and we will reevaluate as we go forward. But you're right. This is 2 years in a row where we've lost in elimination games like this, and it's just a bad feeling.
This franchise obviously has had championship hopes for a few years now, legitimate championship hopes. What do these, as you said, painful and very similar endings say about the group that you have, or the process that you guys have trying to put this championship puzzle together?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, it's 2 different groups. Last year's team is totally different than this year's team. Last year's team was more of a ball movement, body movement team. This year we're more pick and roll oriented and ISO oriented. So it's 2 different situations altogether. And so that's something that we need to take a look at to see what kinds of combinations of players we have to fit the style of play. But it's hard to make assessments about those kinds of things after, 20 minutes after a loss, if that.
Cam played the most minutes, and he obviously had the most efficient shooting night. So what can you say about his play in this series to help rejuvenate your team and tonight?
I thought the pace that he brought in games 3 and 4 certainly helped us win those 2 games, and it changed their defensive mindset. in Game 5. They did a good job of nullifying the pace with physicality, but he brought energy and scoring, and when he got the ball, he was getting it down the floor, putting pressure on the rim. I thought Jock did the same thing from a sprint aspect, rim runs, stuff like that, just causing cross matches. He and Cam helped us win 2 games in this series, and I'm thankful for that.
Monty, in the past, you've talked about how you reflect on a season as a whole and games like this. How do you process it the first 24 hours and then do more of it here in the off season?
I mean, the next 24 hours will be what you can imagine. You know, you feel like you don't feel that great. You know, I take that personally, not having our team ready to play in the biggest game of the year. That's something that I pride myself on. And it just didn't happen tonight. And so that's something that I have to really take a deep look at everything I'm doing to allow us to be successful on these days.
Monty, this might not be a fair question just after the 20 minutes after the game, but how do you characterize the season itself?
I don't know. There's so many variables in a season like this, but they all seem like excuses. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not into that. You know, I look at myself first before anybody else, and you could point to all kinds of things, and I don't want to list them because that's just not. I don't think it's the right thing to do. I think you have to look at yourself, and that's what I'm doing right now, is looking at the things I can do better to help us on days like this and progress better during the season so we're ready for days like this. So there's a lot of things that happened this year, from injuries to trades and, you know, a lot of external things that could have been a distraction, and the guys just hung in there all year long. And I applaud the guys for that. We had a number of distractions this year, and they just stayed the course, and we just couldn't get it done today.
Coach, when you look at KD's shooting, it was kind of uncharacteristic for most of the series. Did it feel like, what would you attribute that to? Was it trying to fit in on a new team, or?
It's a hard one to really understand, you know, this early after a loss. Maybe it's something that I'm doing or we're doing, or maybe he just missed, you know, the shots that he's accustomed to making. I'm not quite sure yet. It's something that we'll have to evaluate as we go forward.
Monty, I was going to ask you something similar, but it just seemed like that after he got off to a slow start, shooting-wise, I mean, his body language maybe a little bit. Did you feel like he felt the pressure of just trying to be the normal shot maker he normally is?
I just think he cares. I think he wanted to, you know, bring this town something that it's never had before, and that's okay. You know, if a guy's upset about not making shots and not making plays, that's fine. I'd rather him care and you know, have that feeling than to not care. So I'm okay with that. I think it says a lot about who he is. You know, he wanted this badly, and I wanted it badly for him. So I just feel bad for all of our guys.
Hey, Monty, last year, if I remember correctly, after the Dallas game, you similarly took it upon yourself that you could have done better, you didn't have the team ready. Is it just because that's the way you are, you want to take the responsibility for it rather than, you know, basically pass it off to the players? Or what's your thought process behind that? I'm
just not a blame guy. It's just not my personality. It's not how I was raised, not how I was taught. I'm a no excuses, no explanation person, you know, when it comes to getting the job done. And I have people that I answer to, and they put a lot of trust in me. And when I let them down, it's, you know, it's just part of being a competitor. You want to win, you know, and that's the ultimate goal, is to win. And when you don't, I don't know of any competitor who doesn't look at himself first and try to evaluate so you can be better. Thank you.
Monty, thanks for everything.